While they're coming down, just want to remind committee members and council members, you can also continue to submit your questions to respective department heads so that those answers can be compiled on the SharePoint. We now have before us MTA, and the floor is yours, Mr. Bland.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee, and members of council. Just a quick overview. Mayor Briley's proposed budget for MTA for fiscal year 19 is status quo. Got it. Is status quo for MTA, so it's no increase, no decrease. With that proposal, we are able to sustain current level services and fares without any impact to our customers. Last year, there was a significant increase in budget provided by Metro to fund several specific initiatives. Namely, those included extending the free Music City circuit up into North Nashville via Jefferson Street corridor to Tennessee State University. We added significant service hours to improve frequency on our Route 22 Bordeaux bus. So we're now operating that service about every 15 minutes during weekday peak and midday periods, and about every 25 minutes during the off-peak. We also added service hours to the Route 19 Herman bus, extending that route from North Nashville on into the Nations neighborhood, and added service to our Route 18 airport bus, which is seeing rapidly increasing ridership, particularly among employers along the Elm Hill Pike area. We made other strategic nominal service hour expansions on the system, targeting improvement in our overall on-time performance, and have gotten that up from about 84.9% to 85.7%. We've continued to expand our access ride system, our door-to-door system, particularly targeted towards senior citizens and persons with disabilities throughout Davidson County. This is a county-wide service. It's available anywhere in Davidson County. Currently carries about 1,400 riders per day and almost 17,000 what I'll call regular users, folks who use it at least once a year, spread out throughout the county. We've continued initiatives that were funded earlier in the Metro budget process, including service enhancements in the Antioch area on our Nolensville corridor, crosstown service with the Thompson Connector service, and those are also seeing significant ridership gains. Probably the most noteworthy change through last year's funding initiative was a fare restructuring of the MTA service, reinstating a policy of free transfers and a commensurate reduction in passes and ticket prices. Overall, that was about a $2.3 million impact on our budget. So you will notice as you look at the trends, a significant decline in operating revenues, a commensurate increase in Metro's level of support that was directly attributable to that particular program. We partnered through the PIP process with the Homelessness Commission for a public investment plan project to support those with chronic homelessness. That includes providing free access to mass transit for the chronically homeless. And to date, we have over 200 of these passes in circulation. So far, we've had over 25,000 trips taken. And in addition, we're working with the Tennessee Conference on Social Welfare to conduct train-the-trainer classes with our bus operators to recognize and help support folks in the community with chronic homelessness. We're partnering with the Metro Planning Commission and providing funding for their travel demand management program, which is a direct outreach effort to employers in an effort to reduce single occupant auto use. They're a combination of enrollment in our Easy Ride Pass program, carpooling, van pooling, bike ped initiatives, and also things like flex hours and work-at-home arrangements. We continue to partner with Metro Nashville Public Schools on the STRIDE program. All Metro Nashville public high school students, whether they're enrolled in public schools, charter schools, magnet schools, has access to free transit. That is not just during the school year. It is 12 months a year, and we see significant usage of that program as well. Finally, with respect to operations, we have continued to grow and expand our relationship with Metro Nashville Police in terms of their presence on our system and in our facilities. We've increased our spending on security policing over the last 4 years by about 75%. I know, Madam Chair, that this is an operating budget hearing, but I'd be remiss because a lot of our funding sources involve federal funds that go into what we refer to as operating capitalizations, such as preventive maintenance on our assets that reflect in our operating budget. So even though we're not talking about the capital budget today, those funds are critically important to match federal dollars. And without them, we lose access to about $24 million per year in federal funding. I think with that, those kind of cover the highlights. Access Ride, again, is carrying about 1,400 riders a day. Our fixed route system, about 33,000 riders a day, even though our one-year trend is down about 1%, a little over 1%. Our 10-year trend is up 10%, and our most recent quarter, which wrapped up, our most recent full quarter, wrapping up March 31st, we're up about 2.2%, and that's, again, trending in the right direction. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you so much. Vice Chair Schulman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Mr. Bland, here's, I got a couple of questions for you. So I'm looking on J78-1. This is just your front page where it says status quo budget. But that unit fund is going up. It goes up by over $3 million. So, and that's for expenditures and transfers. What is that?
You mean the MTA component unit fund?
Right.
The very top line? That is our total operating budget. So that includes not just Metro's revenue sources. It includes operating income such as passenger fares, advertising income, lease income. It includes our state grants for operations, not our capital. This is all on the operating side. It includes the federal operating capitalizations that I mentioned earlier, and of course, the Metro, the general fund assistance that we receive.
Okay, so if we're not giving you any more money this year, where's the extra $3 million coming from?
Right. A lot of it, actually, one you'll see that's classified on page I-78 or J78-3 under charges, commissions, and fees is actually an expectation. The way we're able to sustain the services, because we receive partial year funding, so even at a flat rate, having partial year funding for some of the initiatives like free transfers and Music City Circuit extension, et cetera, kind of drive our expenses over that level on a full year basis. So the way that we're closing that gap, we have reduced expenses in non-operating areas, non-service related areas. We are also looking at, frankly, deferring capital projects and moving more funding into the operating capitalizations. So that includes those federal dollars that I was talking about that are really specifically classified as capital, but they are allowed to be used, permitted to be used under federal law for asset maintenance, so things like repairing our buses, repairing our facilities. They're also eligible to be used for our access ride expenses as required under the Americans with Disabilities Act.
So I see that was going to be one of my questions. On that page, it's a the 2018 budget was $12.7 million. In 2019, it's 15.2. And these are for charges, commissions, and fees. So these are going to be, this is federal money that's being moved over to pay for fees?
Yeah, some actually of that should be moved down to, from charges, commissions, and fees to federal, which is direct and pass-through. Some will remain, some of that increase will remain in charges, commissions, and fees because of full year operation of services that weren't in place for the full fiscal year 2017-2018, as well as things like our advertising and some of our lease income sources that are on the uptick. Okay, so we can get you a much more what I'll call a detailed breakdown of some of those.
Okay, so it's no additional state money, I'm sorry, no additional city money that's coming in, it's coming from another source.
Correct, correct.
Second question is, you went through the list of significant increases in the money that was spent from last year. I got at least 4, and there may have been more than that. Can you all provide a list of what those projects were, how much money was spent in terms of the cost, and what it resulted in? Because it sounds like some were increased bus usage, in terms of like every 15 minutes. How many people rode those things? Did it work? That type of thing.
Yeah. We can absolutely do a breakdown of and the cost and what that result in, whether it be ridership increase or other benefit.
Okay, and then my last question deals with Access Ride. The numbers, are you seeing an increase in the terms of the use of Access Ride from year to year?
We have, and that's been a long-term trend. We've kind of flattened out right now, and frankly, that's not a demand issue. We're having some challenges. So there's two real pieces to Access Ride. One is the small vans that you see running around the county that are MTA operated, and the other is what we refer to as our overflow program, where we deploy trips strategically on particularly taxi providers. And that's been a challenge this year. We've had some service quality problems and other challenges with that program because, frankly, as the rideshare operators start to become more prevalent, taxis are suffering, and that's kind of put a damper on some of those trips. The cab companies we work with are working that out, so that situation's improving. We've also been piloting a program we call Access on Demand, which offers same-day Access Ride service. Typically, Access Ride is one-day advance reservation, but the pilot we're doing with Access on Demand is same day for a premium fare. It's not the same fee. You pay an extra fare, and that's involving some different operators that's showing promise as well. So we expect to see that, continue to be on the uptick. As that service is almost exclusively for seniors, it's not only available to seniors and persons with disabilities, but that's 98, 99% of the market. And that as a percentage of our population, as you well know, that's a significantly growing population.
Okay, so the last comment to that is there are senior volunteer programs that are starting to show up in different places, including one here. There's a whole brand new program called Senior Ride Nashville with volunteers, which is designed to provide rides and keep the cost down because it's volunteer drivers, and so it's very low charges. So have you all participated with them to find out what's going on?
Yeah, we in fact were involved on the steering committee when it was first formed, probably almost 3 years ago, to actually do the startup, to help on the startup planning on it as well.
Okay, so they have already started. They have now started providing rides.
I do not know what their current usage trends are, so I don't know what their pattern of use is at the moment. But again, that's something, if you're interested, I'm sure we can find out.
Well, I probably can find out as well. I guess what I'm interested is to make sure everybody's talking to each other because they're finding the reason this stuff is happening, not only here but across the state, is that limited options, people don't have the money, they're on fixed incomes. And so they've started creating their own programs. And they basically didn't wait for the government to do anything. They did it themselves and created their own programs. And they're starting to show up everywhere. So it's a cost savings to the city because you have a whole nother program out there. So be interested to see how they kind of start connecting with each other. Okay,
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Councilman Glover.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Bland, okay, so let's walk through some of the numbers over the last couple of years and I'll ask Finance to pay attention to what I'm asking here also because I want to know these numbers. As I'm going through the federal funding, I see a bit of an uptick from last year to this year on what's anticipated, not by $1 million. I see in charges, commission, and fees an uptick of $2.4 million. I'd like to understand what's generating that, because if I look at after you placed I'll call it free fare, where you change, I see a revenue drop of almost $1.7 million.
Correct.
And so why are we so optimistic on that amount of uptick?
Again, when our final budget goes through, and I'll also ask Mr. Oliphant, our Chief Financial Officer, to weigh in, you would end up seeing more of that charges, commission, and fees fall into the federal category. The federal piece, by and large, that biggest piece, there are some exceptions to this, but the largest chunk generally are those operating capitalizations, where essentially we're taking federal capital dollars and applying them toward eligible expenses out of the operating budget.
Okay.
And we can get you a better breakdown of that.
Okay. And so, I mean, let's make no bones about it. Obviously, we're challenged with trying to figure out how we accommodate a lot of the needs in the city. And when I look at it, and this is one of the challenges I've got personally. When I look at your budget, it's increased by 28.9% from 13 till this year. When I'm looking at top line, just the top line, and then I look at fire and I look at police, and it didn't increase by the same percentage. All right, so percentages are important in my mind. So I would like to know from the city, because it's a little complicated to go through here and understand exactly how many additional dollars did the city out of our coffers.
Out of the general fund?
Yeah, out of the general fund go to MTA.
Sure.
And then I'd like to know what was the matching part of federal grants, however they set that up. And I don't pretend to know it. I just know that ridership is down, and I'm talking year to year based on what I'm seeing here. And I get the 10-year, yeah, but if we look at 10-year population growth, so anyway, we look at population growth year to year, and we're higher now than we were. And then I look at the revenue, passenger fares, and I mean, down almost 20%. So I'm trying to find out where are we from Metro dollars, because we've got some hard choices we're going to have to make.
Well, at least in this document, and whether it's MTA or finance, we can go back on the history as far back as you need on what the general fund allocations were to MTA's operating budget. We can also obviously go to what the capital budget allocations were in those types of projects. The immediate numbers.
Well, the capital, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the capital would not, we're not utilizing any of our capital, our local capital, for any fare. Or, I mean, we're strictly using that to buy buses or things of that nature, correct?
Yeah, typically in the capital budget, and I don't want to step out of bounds either.
No, because I want to hear the clarity on this, because earlier you alluded to capital being able to be utilized on the operating side. So I think we need to have that clarified. Seeing my committee members agree, so go ahead.
So typically what you will see in an MTA capital request are matches to federal grants, which are capital grants. That's all. The federal government does not provide support for transit operations. They provide support for capital. And you will see requests for non-federal funded projects like bus replacements, or last year we had one in for North Nashville Transit Center, that type of a project. At the federal level, because the rationale is, well, we won't support operations, but it is counterproductive for us to fund you to buy, say, a bus, and then not put you in a position where you can maintain that asset that we provided. So the transfer, the capitalization question is that part of that capital budget can be the allocation over to things like preventive maintenance. The two eligible expenses are asset maintenance, so it would actually be repairing a bus, if we need to do engine replacement, those types of activities that do pop up in our operating budget. So those aren't showing up in our capital budget. They are showing up in our operating budget because they're being done in our facilities with our personnel, with parts and supplies that we're acquiring. And then the other eligible piece is, because the service on access rides specifically required or mandated under the Americans with Disabilities Act is a federal requirement, they will allow us to apply those funds toward access ride ADA-related services. Those are what those capitalizations are, and that is specifically what you will see under the program revenue lines in the federal direct and pass-through.
Okay, so let me go just a step further, if I may. So under the federal capital budget that you receive, and let's just talk about access right as an example. If you have a driver driving that van that you pay X number of dollars per hour, are any of the federal capital dollars used to pay that salary, or is it just strictly an operational, on operating the van as far as repairs, things of that nature?
For ADA-related access ride, and just to be clear, and I apologize if this is too lengthy, what the Americans with Disabilities Act requires us to do by law is provide that door-to-door service within our fixed bus route service area. So if your trip origin and destination are within 3/4 of a mile of our regular city bus service, we're required to provide that. What we provide in the outer parts of the county where we don't have fixed route service is supplemental to that, so that's not mandated by law. So we are allowed to apply the federal dollars toward the general operation of the ADA mandated part of access ride. So whether that's, we don't tend to, and Ed can jump in, you know, to further this, is we don't break that out saying, well, okay, federal's paying for maintenance on the van and something else is paying for the driver. It's, we basically, when we apply for the federal funds, we split out the eligible expenses, whether they are asset maintenance or ADA-related services, and then that's what goes into the actual federal funding application.
Okay, so can we see specifically ADA-related actual charges, or is that in here in the budget for us to actually see dollar for dollar on what is being allocated?
Sure. In the ADA, it's not at this level of detail, but we can absolutely provide that for you.
Okay.
There's one other caveat to the ADA rule, and that is that they only allow 10% of the capital dollars in the region to be allocated to that. Right. In other words, we get $26 million a year for the region. Some of it goes to the Regional Transportation Authority, some of it comes to MTA, and actually Franklin Transit is also in our region, so they get a little piece of that. But we look at the total amount, that $26 million, and then the federal government will allow, or ADA will allow
$2.6 million total. Okay. All right, so then let me just, I guess, to clarify, from the operational budget from Metro, and if you guys have it, fine, finance, I don't really care, but yours is one of the more challenging budgets to look at, simply because of the way that the dollars are blended. I would like to see over the last 3 years the increase in revenues, in funding that Metro has provided. And then I would like to also understand, is it been a dollar for dollar match from federal and or state funding? Or has Metro actually increased the amount of funding and it hasn't gone up in a substantial way on the federal side as well?
We will absolutely put the numbers together and get them to you.
Okay.
The direct answer to your second question is Metro has definitely gone up at a faster rate than state and federal. This upcoming fiscal year 2019, we're seeing a small increase in the state operating assistance, about $180,000. That had been flat for several years. We've seen some level of increase in the federal, but not by the same percentages.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilor Henderson.
Thank you, Chair Vercher. Thank you, Director Bland. I had a few more questions regarding the access ride. So if we look at kind of your expenditure per capita, can you share what percentage of that or what part of that is, I remember that access ride really factors pretty large in there. How much is like 40 some odd or something? I thought I recalled.
Well, generally speaking, and we can get more detailed numbers, access ride service is very expensive to provide, as you would imagine, because it's more personalized service. And where our overall, one of the measures of productivity in our business is number of passengers carried per hour of service. So where our overall system average on our city bus service is just over 17 passengers per hour, and we have routes that are, you know, ranging up to 30 per hour. On access ride, we're at about 2.1 passengers per hour. So on a per passenger basis, it's expensive.
Right.
About 20% of our operating budget goes to access ride operations when you break it out.
And can you break that out between the ADA mandated versus what we provide additionally?
Actually, I thought the question might come up when I asked our Access Ride folks.
Okay.
What they were able to track for a most recent period, it might be a month or a quarter, was about 75% of all Access Ride trips, so that's about 1,400 on an average weekday, take place, or what you would call ADA trips. They
Okay.
take place entirely within that 3/4 mile buffer around this city bus service. About 25% either take place entirely in the outlying areas or one end of the trip. You know, it might start in the city, you know, might start downtown and go to Jolton,
Understood.
you know, or vice versa.
So 75% of are the ADA mandated trips based on kind of the framework of the 3/4 mile of existing service, but can you speak to just what percent kind of your user mix of just say a senior who doesn't have access to sidewalks to get to the bus versus a truly disabled person, like someone who is incapable of driving, whether through sight issues or that kind of disabled piece?
Sure. We can absolutely get you a breakdown of seniors versus what I'll call non-senior, which is going to tend to be that person with a disability, whether it's cognitive or physical. Where it gets a little tricky is because a significant number of our seniors who are riding have some form of disability.
Absolutely,
So
understood.
it's kind of a double count. We can get you a pretty good shot at least being able to say, well, X percent is senior versus non-senior.
And I
then
guess
some idea, particularly on, because obviously disabilities take many different forms, but clearly the ambulatory, non-ambulatory kind of a mix.
Understood. So would you think then it's somewhat just de minimis of, like, say, an able-bodied senior who is using Access Ride? Those users are probably now, I don't know, are they using Lyft and Uber? I mean, I know we're kind of talking at the margins here of maybe 10% of your user mix, but I'm just wondering, as far as kind of some of your partnerships, like what Mr. Schulman mentioned, the senior ride or your partnership with Lyft. I mean, if there are just kind of at the margins in that Access Ride group, obviously those folks who are, disabled or seniors who have sight issues, absolutely, we have to serve those folks. But I just wonder, do you think there's any part of that mix that could be, or is that just kind of a de minimis?
I'll be honest, I would have to get with our folks and look at the data of some. I would honestly wouldn't want to speculate,
Okay.
At the moment who would be. And what we've seen, like with our Access on Demand program is, and don't want to generalize. I mean, my mother-in-law was on the internet. She's 84, long before I was. We've kind of seen a reluctance in our senior populations, like in our Access on Demand, which is a different service model, in kind of changing over to what I'll call the unknown. But
Right.
we can absolutely do the research and get you some information.
Okay, I appreciate that. And then as it relates to Easy Ride, this is something I know Council Lady Berkeley Allen and I often talk about as it relates to our economic development that we do for corporations that are moving to our area. Can you share with us what, we know the state of Tennessee, Vanderbilt, but can you share what large corporations participate in Easy Ride, please?
I'm really glad you asked that question. Currently we have about 28 companies altogether that participate in Easy Ride. Some of the larger are, you touched on a couple. The state of Tennessee, is one of the largest. Both Vanderbilt University, Vanderbilt Medical Center are significant. The university sector, in addition to Vanderbilt, we have now Trevecca Nazarene, we have Lipscomb, we have Belmont participating, a number of hotels, some of the larger employers. Asurion is in, Bassbury and Sims is in.
Can I ask, does Bridgestone participate?
Bridgestone does not participate at this point. We are trying to make inroads. We have not had much success to date.
All right, I would hope that they would do that. They were really all in for transit and funding that, so that would have been nice to.
I would hope they will too. In fact, Eric Beyer is in the back of the room, and he leads our Easy Ride sales effort. And Eric was taking active note of the number of the Transit Coalition partners who were and were not enrolled in Easy Ride.
Participants. And then, so HCA or Parallon, or, I mean, they've just built a new large building there on Charlotte Pike with transit service?
Neither are in at this point.
Okay, all right. And then as it relates to TDM, I know that's somewhat of a partnership with folks in both planning
Right.
And public works, looking at that, and that is largely grant funded.
Correct.
How many MTA staff are in that group, or either full-time, part-time, kind of
Right.
coordinating?
We don't specifically have staff funded out of that program,
Okay.
but a number of our folks, I mean, Eric's a good example of someone who provides support to that program. So the general approach would be that the TDM staff that are grant funded through the Congestion Mitigation Air Quality Program, would be able to do an all-in, whether it's how do we bike and ride share and telecommute. And then they would bring us into those employers where particularly the Easy Ride program, both at the MTA and at the RTA level, is appropriate, for that specialization. So we would be, for lack of a better word, force multipliers in that program.
Okay. And then you mentioned RTA, and that was kind of where I was going next. I know, I spoke sometimes about how that kind of scenario one and in motion, I think what folks ranked the highest was a comprehensive regional transit plan. And so RTA is kind of key in that piece. And so, from a ridership perspective, like your coaches that are coming out of Williamson County and so forth, can you speak to that? And
Yes.
Any efforts around bus on shoulder and some of the things that we were hearing in the transit space where people
Sure.
were saying, well, what's the regional piece of this?
Sure. A number of significant things. And what I would tell you is the Music City Star, which is sort of the, for lack of a better word, the cornerstone of the RTA services, continues to see ridership increases year over year of about in the 3 to 4% range. I'm not going to say they're huge, but they are steady and they are on an annual basis. The commuter bus services are, frankly, all over the board.
Okay.
And there's a couple main reasons. What we're finding is the primary determinant of usage is good, reliable park and ride locations
Right.
and travel time reliability. Generally, what we found both in the public dialogue over the plan and in our real experiences of attracting riders is people understand as the region grows, it's going to take longer to get around. What people find most frustrating is if it takes me 20 minutes today, 40 minutes tomorrow, an hour the day after that. So the services where we're able to have better reliability of travel time, like the Music City Star, our Clarksville commuter service, our Dixon commuter service are both doing extremely well. A couple reasons are in Clarksville, we partnered with TDOT on the construction of a brand new park and ride lot in conjunction with the Hankook Tire Project up there. So it rapidly expanded our capacity and also improved the condition of that lot. And we saw almost instantly about a 35% increase in ridership on that line. Combine that with the fact that it's a very long trip. And
Right.
a good part of that trip, you're not really in traffic. You're kind of moving along. On the other hand, in both Williamson and Rutherford counties, we've had a challenge in keeping park and ride lots. Most of our park and rides are what I would refer to as charity park and rides. They are churches or shopping centers or city facilities that allow us to use them. And from time to time, they'll say, look, we need the space. You can't stay here anymore. And every time we relocate a lot, we lose ridership. And we've had that happen about 4 times over the last year and a half in
Goodness,
Williamson
okay.
and Rutherford.
So can I just ask then, sort of at a state level, right? I look at something like
Yep.
that and think that makes a lot of sense, that if we can have some sort of kind of continuity in that service and people know you always go to
Right.
X location, you can get on this coach, they have Wi-Fi, it might take 30 minutes one day, and to your point, 45 or 50 minutes, but like you're on your laptop, you're answering your emails, so, relax and ride. But, so as it relates to kind of MPO and that funding, federal pass-through, I mean, is anybody having a conversation about really shoring that up so that those Council Lady Virtue from the southeast, the Rutherford County piece, the Williamson County piece, that
Right.
65 and 24 just seem to be these, really struggles.
Right. Absolutely, and some of the activities that are going on, we're partnering with TDOT and a number of others partners, including Metro Nashville, in the I-24 Smart Corridor Study. And a couple of the things that TDOT's looking at. TDOT is absolutely the lead on that project. A couple of things that are being looked at are expanded purpose-built park and rides. The challenge in Rutherford County and Williamson counties in particular, as it is in Metro Nashville, is good
Foster
property
estate,
is hard to find. So that piece is a challenge. And that project is progressing well. I can't recall. I can get you more information when their final project delivery schedule is. But that's moving along. And then just yesterday, we kicked off with Nashville area MPO, TDOT, and other partners in the corridor, including Metro Nashville, the South Corridor study looking at the Nashville, Williamson, Murray County commute corridor, relatively parallel to I-65 and the parallel arterials and other corridors.
Okay, I appreciate that, because I think a lot of people are asking questions about what's kind of happening in the regional space. Okay, that's all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Council Lady Henderson. Council Lady Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Ballard, for being here and for good explanation of yesterday. Just to kind of rehash some of the things you and I talked about yesterday, we've had lots of conversation about transit, and so many people said, you know, let's just make things work better on the existing bus system. And the things that immediately came to mind were the more frequent service, longer hours, and crosstown buses. Can any of those begin to happen? Or other things that would also help, you know, increase predictability and reliability within the current budget? Or is it possible to get maybe some line items of low-hanging fruit and what they might cost if we could find some funding for that?
Well, one example of a project that I think fits into the category that you're talking about is one that we actually have under construction with Metro Public Works and Metro IT right now in the Murfreesboro Road Corridor, which is, it was funded with Metro Capital dollars, but significantly with federal Tiger Grant dollars to upgrade 41 intersections in that corridor with updated signal technology, including centralized adaptive signaling with transit priority, so software on our buses that's dealing with things like schedule adherence and passenger counts, can trigger changes in light cycles to improve the reliability of those trips. What are known as queue jumps in 5 intersections, where essentially a bus would pull off out of traffic to pick up and discharge passengers, and then rather than the typical pull-off, which I also refer to as bus traps because you can't get back into traffic, these actually have advanced signaling, so when that bus is ready to go at the next cycle of the light, you know, it essentially leapfrogs ahead of the other traffic queued at that intersection. There will also be pedestrian improvements that are going in now as we speak. So there are sidewalk improvements, ADA, bus stop and shelter improvements, real-time information improvements. That's a good example of what I would call a lower hanging piece of fruit. The challenge is one of the things we heard significantly is, yes, we need more frequent service, we need later service, but frankly, for a broader range of people to use it, if I can't get to the bus stop, or I feel unsafe getting to the bus stop, whether that's because traffic in that corridor is just too fast moving and it's hard to cross, or frankly, what we've heard in a lot of neighborhoods, is if I could get transit at 2 in the morning, I could take trips, I could take shifts at my job that I can't currently take, but I don't necessarily feel safe walking home at 2 in the morning. So I think it's unfortunately not as simple as, well, if we just run later or run more often, people will, it's all of those things on a checklist that we all make, you know, when we make mobility choices and making them work well together. Crosstowns work better when they are connected to strong arterial service, and that connection point is a good place to be. And I know we've been talking to Councilman Pulley about, you know, the Green Hills, the Hillsborough Transit Center and several others. But if you're having to get off a bus and stand in a drainage ditch to wait for a connection, you tend to do that if it's the absolute only choice you have.
Thank you, Council Lady. Council Lady Karen Johnson.
Thank you, Director Bland. Thank you, everybody at MTA. We are prayerful that we're going to come up with a transit solution because my millennial sons, they are looking for, they want the light rail. They want the transit.
Unfortunately, well, they were.
And Karen Johnson loves it when she goes to the other cities. I love getting on the transit because it's fast and I just love it. But we're where we are. And the voters are expecting for us to come up with something that can bring about transit options. And so I'm just sending you a word of encouragement that the people in this city are not saying they don't want it. They're saying they just want something different from the plan that was presented.
Right.
So get to work on that, please, because we want relief.
And I think that ties to the earlier question about the regional pieces. So now looking at some of those, the I-24 corridor study, the South Corridor study are probably our next best opportunities.
Because we're stuck out in Antioch, seriously.
Yep.
On the access ride, the 14, did you say 1,400 riders per day?
Per day, right.
Okay.
Per average weekday.
Okay, so the majority of those riders per day are coming from what quadrant?
Oof. We can get you a trip profile map. I know
Okay.
very often when we meet with council folks, I mean, we can get you the detail on how many in your district and, you know, those types of profiles.
I kind of want to know the quadrant. You know, where the city is in 4 quadrants, what area is that
Yeah.
is most demand coming from?
Yeah, we can look at the trip profiles. I know that we had what I'll call an active user breakdown done by council district, and there are active users in every council district. They run from a low of 111 in District 35 to a high of over 1,300 in District 17. But we can get you better information on, you know, on the patterns.
And the reason why I'm asking is because, as you know, I have many older constituents that really, you know, want those services. And so there's a demand still out there. People are not utilizing it, you know, right now to the level that they could. And so
Yeah.
that is very important to make sure that we are meeting the demands in the areas that's needed.
And some of the enhancements we're working on in Access Ride specifically, I touched on Access on Demand, which is, so far it's been very well received by the users. We'll be conducting a full evaluation during this pilot period to see what its long-term prospects are. But in addition, most of you, I think, know we've had real-time information available on the city bus system for a couple of years now. So we're moving toward real-time information and what I'll call advanced pickup notifications, so that essentially you could choose to be texted or called automatically when your van is, say, 10 minutes away, you know, so that you know that it's on the way. We are accepting delivery in the next couple months of 19 new Access Ride vans. We'll be experimenting with 6 of those being low floor, similar to what we're using on our fixed route system. And again, we are going out for an alternate provider solicitation that allows us to expand the pool of operators that are in the Access Ride system. So moving more toward what I would call a brokered approach, where one of the things we're seeing in Access on Demand is you might say, oh, okay, I'm using this provider. I really like this provider. I want to stick with him. So having a little bit more of what I'll call a user choice model, you know, as we move forward. You know, with also an eye toward, and I apologize, I can't remember which council person mentioned it, how that can also manage, I think it was Councilman Schulman, how that can also help in cost control through that selective competition kind of an approach.
Also, under your personnel expense, your operating expenses relative to personnel, what are the number of budgeted positions in MTA?
Well, in the Metro budget, it's 1, because we only have 1 Metro employee.
So what's the other?
Obviously, and I'm that one.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
more
see that
broadly-
here. What's the other?
Yeah, the total number of employees or authorized positions we have right now is 743. And that includes, obviously, the number one category is operators, bus and van operators, which is a total of 425 full-time and 24 part-time.
And do you anticipate having to increase the number? Are you fully staffed? Are the buses running like they're supposed to, or?
We have openings. We have, right now, among the operators, we have about 20 openings. So out of that 743, we've got about 725 or so on staff. We are always hiring because there is absolutely a turnover rate. So I would encourage everybody who knows anybody to apply if they have an interest. And we also have a few openings in our maintenance department as well.
And what's your turnover rate?
Let me get you a better number.
Okay.
I mean, that data is available. Do you have it?
Okay, so you have openings in maintenance and openings for drivers.
Right, and the openings in maintenance are both what I would call for skilled and lower skilled positions, our skilled technicians, and then also our service personnel, so the folks who do shelter cleaning and bus cleaning and that type of thing.
Okay, and lastly, again, please, before I leave this council, which is coming up soon, please understand that my area really wants the park and ride. That park and ride that we had discussed when I first got in office 7 years ago. And I've been on that every single year. You all know that. My constituents want a park and ride similar to the one in Bellevue. And so please, even though I'm out of the council, I'm going to still be advocating for that and pushing for that because
Sure.
that's very important to my constituents.
And again, coming back to what we talked about earlier, generally for the commuter services, that's the number one requirement for success.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Council Lady Johnson. This is our last council member, Council Lady Henderson.
One more quick question. I remember you had spoken in the past about kind of a consolidated fare payment system, kind of you just get on the bus, ding, you use your phone or so forth. That's already funded, correct? And then you're working through the implementation?
Yep, that is fully funded. We have vendors under contract. They're working now. All in, it's about a 2-year rollout.
Okay.
We'll start seeing equipment installed later this year in what I'll call mini fleet deployments, just testing. But full capability will be probably about, what I call project closeout, will be probably second quarter 2020.
Okay, so that's something that people are going to be seeing sooner rather than later that's going to improve their
Yeah,
experience.
Well, our board doesn't call that sooner.
Okay.
But at least.
But funded at least. That's good to know.
It's fully funded and under contract. The other significant project, couple to just make you aware of, is we are undergoing right now major renovations to Music City Central.
Right.
It's 10 years old, so there's about a $6.5 million project going on now that will both spruce it up, make some structural improvements, but also, and I think significantly for users, make wayfinding much easier there.
Yes,
So directional signage, that type of thing, expanding our customer service capabilities, replacing our restrooms, that type of thing. And then the other is that delivery of new fleet, which will, back to Council Lady Johnson's point, will really bolster both service reliability and, frankly, the appearance of the fleet.
And that new fleet is already funded?
Fully funded, under
Okay.
contract, and scheduled for completion.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Council Lady Henderson. Seeing no other council members seeking recognition, thank you so much, Director Bland, and the service that you provide for the city. And that concludes your hearing. Council members, we are adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.